Hey guys, and happy Wednesday. Today is May 13th. This is for Math 1. Today we're still talking about writing exponential functions. This is the second part because this time we're not going to give a starting value. Okay, so we're going to see what we need to do in order to find it. Okay, so remember just a few things. In our equation for exponential functions, it's always y equals a times b to the x. Remember, a is the y-intercept, the starting value, and then b is my multiplier, okay, or my pattern. So let's look at an example. So it says, write the exponential equation that passes through the points 3, 108 and 2, 36. Okay, so let's look at what we can do here to solve, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start plugging in information. Now, unfortunately, we don't have an a value. How do I know? Because the y-intercept is always 0, something. I don't have any 0, something, so I don't know what the a value is, so I don't know it. But I know this is x and y, and I know that this is x and y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute them each into two separate equations, okay? So I'm going to do the first one for this one. So y equals, y here is 108 equals, I don't know a, I don't know b, and then x is this one here, which is 3. Okay? Same for this one. I'm going to substitute in y is 36 equals, I don't know a, I don't know b, and x is the 2. Okay? Now, what we have here is a system of equations, just like we learned back in chapter 6, how to solve systems of equations. Same thing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually use substitution. And in order to use substitution, I need to get a letter by itself. It's always easier to get a by itself because you'll notice b has an exponent versus a is just a. This is a little bit easier. So it doesn't matter. On one of them, I'm going to get a by itself, okay? Doesn't make a difference. Let's just say I do this one. So to get a by itself here, this is timesing by b to the third. So I would divide by b to the third. So b to the third divided by b to the third is just 1. So I can bring down my a. And then I can't divide that because that's a number and a variable. So I'm just going to leave it like that. 108 over b to the third. What I'm going to do now is this says a equals, see, a equals 1 over 3, 108 over b to the third. So here where I see a, I'm going to replace that with your a. Okay, so I'm going to bring down the 36 equals, and then instead of writing a, I'm going to put what a equals. 108 over b to the third, put that in parentheses. And then I have b squared times b squared. Okay, so I just replaced the a. Now I can simplify. Okay, so if I simplify here, I can kind of multiply straight across so that it looks like this. B squared means b times b. On the bottom, b cubed means b times b times b, right? So I can make a giant 1, another giant 1, and then I have 1b left on the bottom here, okay? So I have 36 equals 108, and then I have 1b left on the bottom. And then this is division, so to get rid of division, I'm going to multiply by b to both sides. So I get 36b equals, and then b divided by b is just 1, so I just get 108. And then to get rid of, this is multiplication, 36 times b, so to get b by itself, I would divide by 36 to both sides. So 36 divided by 36 is just 1. b equals, and then in my calculator, I'm going to do 108 divided by 36, and that gives me 3. So my b value is 3. Now I'm not quite ready yet to write my equation because I still don't know a. But here I have an equation that says a equals. Remember, just like when we did substitution with systems of equations. So I'm going to take that b equals 3, and I'm going to replace that for the b right there. Okay? So 108 over 3 to the third power equals a. Replace the b with the 3, what we know it is. So 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. 108 over 27 equals a. And then I can divide in my calculator 108 divided by 27, which gives me 4. So now I have my a value and I have my b value, so I can write my final equation. Y equals, a we found was 4, times b we found was 3 to the x power. Or remember, you can also write it like this, y equals 4 times 3 to the x bar. The same thing. There are your equations. So it's using systems of equations just like we've done in the past. Now, I will say this, sometimes you can get away with the fact that, look, this is the second term and this is the third term. So they're one right after the other. So if I were to divide 108 by the 36, I can see that my pattern is already multiplying by 3. So what I could have done in this case, this doesn't always work though, that's why I didn't show it. I could make a table and I could say 0 value 1, 2, 3, third value is 108, second value is 36. So then I could divide backwards 108 divided by 36, and that tells me that it's multiplying by 3 here. So then I have my b value, and then I can go backwards by dividing by 3, 12, backwards again, divide by 3, 4. So there's your a value, and here's your b value. So that works in this case. That doesn't always work. The reason why it worked is because you had two terms that were right next to each other, and they're not big numbers, not like the 100th term or the 700th term. This is usually the process we will use, but in some cases you can also do this. Okay, let's look at another case, just one more, just to make sure we're okay. Okay, so here they actually give it to me as a table. Now, lucky for me, and I do mean lucky for me, the numbers are in order, 4, 5, 6. So I can just use the normal way we find b, divide backwards. So I'm gonna go this one divided by this one. So 0.083 divided by 0.5, and then I'll also do 0.5 divided by 3. Now, when you divide those, you're going to get decimal answers. The first time it's going to be 0.166, the second one it's 0.16666, and it keeps going. So it's rounded a little bit, you can tell. So it's always nice if you want to get a perfect answer to just show the division. So 0.5 divided by 3 would give me my b value if I divide backwards, right? So then 0.5 divided by 3, I can multiply by 10 on the top and the bottom. So I get 5 out of 30. So it's not decimals and fractions anymore. And then I can simplify here. So I can divide the top by 5 and divide the bottom by 5. I get 1/6. So my b value is 1/6. That's the perfect answer. Then I can take that and I can substitute in. Now, I want to be clear. I could also have substituted in just like we did here. So I'll show you both ways to find b. It's a little longer the other way, so if you have the table, use it to your advantage, but I'll show you both just to be sure, okay? So I'm gonna use these 2 points, you only need 2, okay? So I'm gonna go y equals ab to the x. So in the first one, the y value is 3. I don't know a, I don't know b, x is 4. In the second one, the y value is 0.5. Put it down on the same level. I don't know a, I don't know b, and x is 5. So I could do what I did on the last one, get a by itself on one of them. So here I can divide by b to the 4th because it's timesing. So b to the 4th divided by b to the 4th is just 1. Bring down a. I can't divide that because it's a number and a variable. So I just leave it as a fraction, like so. And then since that's what a equals 3 over b to the 4th. Right here where I see a, I can replace it. So 0.5 equals, and then instead of writing a, I'm putting 3 over b to the 4th, in parentheses, times b to the 5th. Remember, you can multiply straight across, so it's going to look like this. So I end up having 5 b's on the top. I'm just showing my work so you all know what's happening. 4 b's on the bottom, so I can make a giant 1, a giant 1, giant 1. Oops, I missed that one there, giant 1. So you'll see that there are 4 b's that make giant 1s, and I have 1 b left over on the top. So I have 0.5 equals 3 times b on the top. Bottom is just a 1 because everything else has eliminated. And since this is times, I can divide by 3 to both sides. And notice, I want you to notice this. Look, this is exactly the same as what I have here. So you're still going to get the 1/6 for the b. Just this is shorter because of the fact that we had two terms in order. Okay. Now, once I have B, I got to substitute it in and find A, right? So here I got to substitute this in for my B value. So A equals 3 over, and then B to the fourth. Now this is going to look weird for a second. Don't worry, okay? Right? B is 1/6, so B to the fourth. So I'm going to ignore everything else for a second, and I'm going to do 1/6 to the fourth power. So 1 to the fourth power is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That's still 1. 6 to the fourth power is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. So that gives me 1296 equals A. And I know this looks weird, but this is where we have to kind of go backwards. And I can also put this in my calculator. I want to show you, but it's going to give me a decimal. So I could do 3 divided by, and then put in parentheses, 1 divided by 1296. I can do that, okay? And it'll give me the answer that way. So that's fine. That's the exact same thing as this, okay? If you want to simplify by hand, we can rewrite this division as this. And then if you remember back in the day, whenever you're dividing fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. That'd be 1296 over 1. So if I multiply 3 times 1296, I end up getting 3,888 as my A value. So then I can write my equation. Y equals A value times B value. Remember, when it's a fraction, it's got to be in parentheses to the X. There is my equation. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Email, Google Classroom, Remind, whatever you can. Again, if you can use this right here, then you cut out all this work. You still have to find A. So that part's still there. This part would still have to happen, but it cuts out a little bit of work if you can use the table. Okay, let me know if I can help. Have a great day, guys.